episode of Requesting Good Company. We're here with Week 8 Eagle recap. It's me and your boy John. John's got on a hard shirt today. Hard
You
shirt.
see that?
Oh, it's a cool shirt for sure. Week 8, here we are on Victory Monday. Philadelphia versus Cincinnati. Some would say that we called this score. We called this score 37-17. Just a nice victory in Week 8. Away game. They did all this hoorah of it's a wide out. Let's change the field. Let's do all of this. But they
All for not. All for not.
didn't show up to play no football. That's okay.
They did not. Eagles. That first drive had me a little worried. Burrow just kind of matriculated the ball down the field, and I was like, man, it's gonna be a long day for our defense. But of course, they were without T. Higgins. And did a good job defensively on Jamar Chase for the most part. Very, very pleased with how they defended yesterday. And then, obviously the offensive explosion, what we've been waiting on. And yesterday it finally all came together. Saquon had another 100-yard game on the ground,
Hmm.
and both receivers well over 80 yards. And this offense looks like it's starting to click at the right time.
Cocatera or whatever his name is stepped
hmm
up in a big way with no Goddard. Uh,
He was actually Jalen Hurt. He was with Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma.
mm.
They go back quite a ways.
So this was really a Oklahoma versus LSU revenge game.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
That's good.
hmm
Um, so in my group chats, we've had multiple debates over is Joe Burrow or Jalen Hurts. I think this just shows it's not close. In my opinion, it's not close. There's
Yeah,
there's no
that,
better comparison than to actually play against the person at their home. Give them
yeah.
home field advantage and beat them up. Four
hmm
touchdowns, three on the
hmm
ground, one in the air to a nasty bomb to Devontae Smith. Just outplayed the man.
Yep. He definitely did. The game changed whenever the Bengals tried that 4th and 1 attempt. It was tied at seven. I think it was tied at 17 after that. Or no,
Might have been
no,
10.
that happened. We were up 7 whenever that happened, right? And we forced them. We forced the turnover on downs. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Joe was. I don't want to say he was erratic. The Eagles. You gotta give it up to the Eagles defense. Make they're making plays whenever they have to. Their linebacking core is really the best that we've seen in recent memory to me.
Yeah.
N'Kobe is really starting to find himself. Defensive line is starting to get pressure. Brandon Graham made another huge play yesterday.
DG's
Uh,
owned it this year.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
He's letting people know,
It's
like, I've been
this is
here.
it.
Yeah.
This is it. This last year. So very pleased to come away with this victory. And what I tell you 2 weeks ago, just start stacking wins, stack wins, get hot, and we'll see where this season can take us. Because dating back to where we were after that Arizona game last year,
Mm.
um, and everything that we went through to get to this point, to rip off 3 straight wins. Just couldn't be happier. This team's playing the way that we know we can, the way that they know, the way that we know they can play.
So they talked about like the Eagles always starting slow, consistently starting slow. This game, we really didn't have no choice. The Bengals had a 10-minute first drive, which
hmm
pretty much destroyed the first quarter. So there was no
Right.
really chance of us scoring in the first quarter unless we threw
hmm
an amazing bomb off rip. So to be down, I think we're down 10-0 at a point.
No, it was 7. It was 7-3, and then it was 10-3, and then it was 10-10.
10-3. Okay.
So we did get points on that first drive that just didn't come until the second quarter.
Yeah.
I
So
went
let's
back and watched last night and saw some
rewatch it.
stuff that I didn't see. So, um, but yeah, just so pleased, man. Jalen is real. No turnovers in October, man.
That's
No
nice.
turnovers. Yeah,
It's
nine
nice.
touchdowns, no turnovers. I mean, the praise needs to be as loud as the criticism.
Exactly. And they're not hearing that. With this game going forward, I do believe that the Eagles are in line to go to, well, Jacksonville at home, smack them, Lord
Hmm.
willing. And then we're on our real games. We got Cowboys, Commanders back to back. I do believe we walk out of there with 3 wins.
It's starting to feel that way. It's definitely starting to shape up that way. Uh, Cowboys did not look good again last night. The Commanders did not look good until the last play of the game, obviously, and you still won there. But because it was looking like we were gonna be sitting hosting this podcast in first place today, but that's okay. We're just going to reel off our wins. We're going to keep playing good. And I like where this football team is. The only definitive team that I will put ahead of us in this conference right now is the Detroit Lions. That's the only one. And that's not to say that I don't think that we can beat them because I definitely think that we can.
I would like to
Especially
say
if
that after this week. Let's see what they do against Green Bay if Jordan Love plays. Because I mean, we beat Green Bay. We didn't destroy Green Bay, but
mhm.
let's see what they do against Green Bay and Lambeau and if they show who they really are or if they come to play. I don't
you know
believe
the
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 Lions have gotten
biggest
any better than last year. I feel like they've lost more pieces than last year, and they couldn't get it done last year. So
they've beat some bad teams for sure. I would say, my biggest thing with them, golf has been very effective, very efficient throwing the football. They have weapons like crazy, but one thing that we've seen from that team is you get in a close game with that team, then you have to start to wonder what kind of decisions Dan Campbell's going to make for that football team. And we've seen it not pay off in the past couple of seasons, but ultimately they're very good. I'm not scared of anybody as of right now. And the craziest thing, the Eagles have only played 2 home games through the first 2 months of the season.
yeah,
So,
it's
we're
our schedule
we're
is fine for us to actually act up because we got
yeah,
Jaguars, Cowboys, Commanders. I could see that being 3 wins. Rams, even with Cooper Cup and Puka back, that might be a little difficult, but that's a dub. Then Lamar at
that
the
might be the next one. That might be the next one. But they've shown vulnerability this year. They're beatable. They've lost to bad teams. They lost to the Browns. They lost to the Raiders. So they're vulnerable.
yeah, and they'll probably be fighting for something at that point. Then we turn
Hmm.
around and have a rest against the Panthers, and then we take on the Steelers defense, just their defense because our offense is sleepable.
Hmm.
Then we're back at Washington and Cowboys at Philly, and then end with the Giants on a rest. We'll probably be resting people by the Giants game.
Yeah. Uh, this has the makings of a 12 to 13 win football team, in my opinion. I think they're that good. They're that talented. Playmakers all over the field. Grant Calcaterra, as we just mentioned, adding another element to the Eagles. When Goddard isn't available to play, and he is a guy that has been injured over the years. Offensive line, man, you just can't say enough about this group. They're far and away the best unit in the NFL to me. Uh, Obviously, Jordan Mailata hurt. Fred Johnson comes in, plays very well. Two very good edge rushers we played yesterday, and Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard, and just not a problem for Lane Johnson or Fred Johnson yesterday.
This game was non-problematic, to be honest. I think with Cincinnati, really the only thing that really shone through for them was Mike Gesicki. Uh,
Hmm.
they need to utilize.
Who ended up putting the ball on the ground later in the game. So
Hate that for them, but for me,
I love it, man.
this is
I
one of
love
those
it.
games where I needed to win because there's too many Cincinnati fans around where we're at to
Hmm.
for us to just let this go by and have this like over our shoulders. Um, John, I want you to tell me who you think was the offensive player of the game and the defensive player of the game.
Offensive player of the game, I'm gonna have to give it to Jalen. Just very efficient. Only had to put the ball in the air 20 times. Completed 16 of them. He's starting to look back to that 2022 form when it comes to running the football. The offensive line has just been so spectacular. We're used to spectacular offensive line play at this point, and Jalen's starting to lead this team, man. You get downfield, with that running game, if the Eagles are running the football effectively, they're going to be damn tough to stop. We we're just starting to see that, and it's really all starting to click offensively. And I mean, it goes back to the shirt, bro. Like if these four are on the field at the same time, completely healthy, what is not to love?
It's it's for sure. I would also give shout out to Schmitty. He stepped up
Hmm.
after a game of, I think, not having any fantasy points, acting up. He
Hmm. Had
got a
one catch for -2 yards last week, so.
yeah.
You know, he's a guy you got to have stay involved, man, because whenever you get the football in his hands, magic happens. Former Heisman Trophy winner, he's my favorite football player on this team. One of my favorite Eagles of all time to this point. I love Devontae Smith, man. Just absolutely love that guy. AJ made big plays. That 3rd and 16 that he converted was a great play. Just a curl or a comeback route to AJ. Jalen threw a dot in there in coverage. Bengals have some problems in their secondary, man. That they really struggle on that side of the ball, it seemed like. So, just keep going. Get ready for Jacksonville. They flex that game out. So we'll have a 4 o'clock kick next week. So no primers. Uh so but that's good with me. I mean, what it
They'll do it against the Ravens. They'll switch out the game. So that
hmm
time game is that week. Or they might do it against the Commanders. I mean, we would have
hmm
to get that this week though.
that actually is a Thursday night game.
Oh,
That
but
first Commanders game is a Thursday night game, which I like. Get your work done early in the week and
rest.
sit back and watch on Sunday and see what everybody else is going to do. I like those Thursday night games.
The who do you have defensively that would be the player of the game?
Um, this isn't going to be a very traditional pick. I thought Nakobe played really well, but the play, another big play in that game, even though they were up by 10 whenever this happened, Isaiah Rodgers with that deflection over Jamar Chase to knock it into Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's hands.
Yeah.
That was a huge play, man. Came in, played really well. I don't know how long we're going to be without Darius Slay, but Rodgers came in and held his own. And this was a guy that I thought was going to have a chance to start outside. In fact, I thought he would have started over Quinion to start the season. Not the case. Quinion's been dominant, arguable defensive rookie of the year candidate to this point, man. You do not throw the football on that kid. It just has not happened this year.
Look up something. There was something that showed that he had zero catches on him yesterday.
Yes. It was 2 catches for 13 yards is what I read.
That's
Um,
insane.
Yeah, he's been great. Cooper DeJean almost had an interception. Obviously made the tackle on the 4th down attempt by the Bengals where they threw it short to Jamar and Cooper came in there and cleaned it up. Great draft picks, man. Great. I mean, everybody wants to say Harry Roseman can't draft, but we have good football players all over the field. Jalen Carter is one of the best defensive linemen in the league. Jordan Davis is starting to help in the run defense. Nolan Smith's like, you know, the Georgia kids are growing up before our eyes, man.
Yeah, Nolan Smith was out there playing linebacker the other day. I was like, oh my
Hmm.
goodness.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how they're using these people.
Hmm.
I still am I don't all this positivity, I gotta bring us back down to reality in one aspect. I still think Bryce Huff is whack.
Yeah. I think he only got one tackle yesterday.
Wasted money.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems that way.
He's not getting double teamed. I watched for like a
Mhm.
whole series. Like I wanted to see like what he's doing.
Mhm.
He's just not out there.
We have this trade deadline coming up. I wonder if the Eagles are going to dip their hands into the pass rusher market because it feels like we're probably missing one over there. One that we're normally used to having. Obviously, we trade away Hassan Reddick, and the Josh Huff experience hasn't really worked out the way we had hoped. But maybe they get involved this week and try and add a pass rusher. I think it's definitely possible. Howie's the GM that is, calling about everybody whenever these trade markets are heating up. So
It's
I
like one of those years where it's kind of like you have to buy in. The team will buy in. The team.
is that the position in need you would say?
I
to
mean,
this point.
well, I don't know really what's going on with Goddard as much, but yeah,
But I mean, Calcaterras came in, played well, so
yeah, I would say
mhm,
that. Or yeah, that's pretty much it. I
yeah.
don't really see any like
Linebackers have been, man,
loopholes.
that him and N'Kobe and Bond have been so good, man.
That's what I'm saying. I
Been
don't see any
really good.
loopholes. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, we might need another corner if Slade keeps getting hurt every 5 seconds, and
Hmm.
but we don't really need another quarter because we got.
No,
They
no, yeah. I mean,
just
Cooper
need them to
Cooper
have more
DeJean's
playing
been
time.
great. Quinyon, Isaiah came in, played good yesterday. Sidney Brown is still recovering from that Achilles rupture, so I'm sure he's not back to 100%, but he is playing. So, I like what this football team is doing. Sirianni isn't, you know, he's you had to get the bad juju out of your locker room from a year ago, and I think that is starting to happen.
Yeah, it's a it's an all around team. Currently, I feel like this is a team, not a oh we have good players, we have a great quarterback, we have two great receivers. No, it's a team effort, and it's showing. I watched a clip last week of the tush push in New York, and Saquon's like, "Nah, let's run it again. Run the tush push. I don't need the
Hmm.
ball. Like, run it." And then you see him doing stuff like, "Nah, let the young boys eat.
Hmm.
I could break a record. I could let everybody else play." Like,
Hmm. He was 13 yards off from his career high rushing in the Giants game when Sirianni came over and talked to him and asked him if he wanted to get in. He said no. That's ultimate team leader right there, man. To want the guys behind you. Gainwell's been the perfect spellback, I think, sitting behind Saquon. Jalen vultured a touchdown away from Saquon after that tiptoe down the sideline, but you know, uh,
okay,
we're not selfish over here.
yeah, I think it was a point to prove that though. I don't know if that comparison has been said as much as I've heard it because of like group chats and stuff, but that comparison for Joe Burrow versus Jalen Hurts, where they both went to the Super Bowl, neither one of them was successful in it. Both have been MVP race candidates and never successful in it. I think for me, this was needed because putting up 4 touchdowns on Cincinnati in their home against Joe Burrow when he's having this amazing season just shows
Statistically.
statistically, yeah. Just shows to me it's like it's not close. I don't understand how leadership wise, you don't see Jalen screaming at AJ like, "Hey, get this together." You don't see him screaming at people like that. Joe Burrow has literally got words with Jamar Chase. Like
Hmm.
I don't I don't see how it's even close. But well, and then people say, "Well, let's pull the numbers from blah blah blah." No, it's always this or that. There is a clear this game versus 1 on
Well,
one.
and it's not just a comparison to Joe Burrow. It's a comparison with all these quarterbacks, man. I mean, the only based on what we've seen in the last month, hell, take it all the way back to 2022. Take it back to the year where the Eagles ran it out and went to the Super Bowl. What hasn't Jalen accomplished that Josh Allen has accomplished? What has
Yeah.
what hasn't Jalen accomplished that Justin Herbert hasn't accomplished? There's good quarterbacks that people definitively put in front of Jalen Hurts, and I'm just like, why? I mean,
Doesn't make any
uh,
sense.
and if he continues to play clean football, not only are we going to be talking about the Eagles, possibly making a Super Bowl run here, we're going to be talking about the MVP of the league. Because based on what he did in the month of October, no turnovers. If we can get through November like that, he's the front runner for MVP. He's gonna be.
It's not even
He's
close.
gonna be.
Lamar is nice,
Lamar will be up there for sure.
but you know, I think some of the antics of it all gets me like composure, leadership. Like it's not even close.
Hmm.
Like Jalen is the exemplary like prototype for that. Like it gets me. It
I'm
gets me.
with you, man. I'm
Get
with you. It's frustrating. I had a friend send me a list of quarterback rankings through the first half of the season. Yeah, Jalen 17,
That's insane.
and that's my that like it's my homie that sent me that. I mean, I'm not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna say anything. I mean, but after the month he just had, he's top 10, bro.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
All right. Well, that is what it is. We'll continue to watch.
I,
That's the best
we're
thing.
just gonna have to just keep proving it every week, man. Keep proving it.
That's good. I like
I
that.
think a lot of people thought the Bengals were gonna win that game yesterday.
We were an underdog
Mm-hmm.
in that game. That is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. But, here we are.
There's so
Victor,
many Birds fans there yesterday too. I mean, it finally felt like after weeks and weeks and weeks, I was like, man, I want to go to this game so bad, but I'm not paying 150, 180 to just go in there and sit down at the top. Like I'm just not gonna do it. There were so many Eagles fans there yesterday, and it looked full to me. So I guess whenever these ticket places tell you there's only 2% of tickets remaining. I guess they were right. So I guess I won't hold a grudge against the Bengals ticket office for selling out a game that, two very marquee teams to this point. But the Bengals are who we thought they were.
yep. Well, that's been another episode of Requesting Good Company. Be back with us next week. We're gonna have something special for you. Um, Stay tuned.